In this edition of Daily Trail Markers, Senator Amy Klobuchar dropped out of the presidential race Monday. She did not win any delegates during South Carolina's primary this weekend. Billionaire Tom Steyer and former Mayor Pete Buttigieg also suspended their campaigns after poor performances in the state. As we've been reporting, former Vice President Joe Biden won South Carolina. He managed to get 39 delegates, with Senator Bernie Sanders placing second. Presidential hopefuls are now preparing for the first Super Tuesday contest of 2020. This week, 14 states will hold primaries. For more on this, I want to bring in our Campaign 2020 reporters, Nicole Sganga and Zach Hudak. Nicole joins us, Nicole has been covering the Klobuchar campaign and joins me now from Dallas. And Zach has been following the Warren campaign and joins me now from Pasadena, California. Nicole, you're in Dallas, where Klobuchar is endorsing former Vice President Joe Biden. Explain the significance of this endorsement. Do we expect her supporters will now vote for the former vice president?
Here's what we know about who supporters of Senator Amy Klobuchar are also considering. According to the latest national polling from CBS News, 40% say they're also considering Warren, 32% say they're also considering Joe Biden, and 23% say they're considering the former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg. So certainly this endorsement is powerful. Also powerful because Minnesota, the state where Senator Amy Klobuchar hails from, is a Super Tuesday state. It will be casting ballots in Minnesota's primary on Tuesday, and so certainly a good way for the former vice president to attract voters from that state where Senator Bernie Sanders is very competitive right now. And so, we're never quite sure what endorsements mean, but as the saying goes, better to have them than to not.
Fair. Let's talk about Budaj, who's also endorsing Biden. It's really remarkable that the winner of the Iowa caucus and the second place finisher in New Hampshire has dropped out before Super Tuesday. What do you know about his decision to endorse Biden?
Well, Mayor Pete Buttigieg spent a lot of time campaigning in early states, Iowa and New Hampshire. He built up big organizations there, but as Super Tuesday rolled around, was seeing less of a path to the nomination, deciding to bow out of this race and put his support behind former Vice President Joe Biden. It's an interesting endorsement. We've heard so many times from Mayor Pete Buttigieg about the next generation of leadership, a new era turning the page, and certainly with a candidate like Joe Biden, who is 78 years old, it's sort of an interesting matchup, but this could give new energy to the vice president's campaign. It certainly could bring not only supporters behind him, but really a massive organization that the Buttigieg team has built. Those resources might come in handy heading into the conventions this summer.
And Zach, you're over in California with the Warren campaign. She hasn't even done as well as Buttigieg in any of the February primaries or caucuses. So what's her strategy to try and turn this around ahead of Super Tuesday? And should we be watching to see if she might drop out?
Well, just like you said, she hasn't done very well in any of them, and a lot of that had to do with expectations. In Iowa, in fact, she finished in third place, which wasn't that bad, but it was really a place where she had invested heavily and was highly expected to do well. And after that, New Hampshire, another place she was expected to do well and did even more poorly. South Carolina and Nevada, she was never expected to be that strong either place. So really, since right before the New Hampshire primary, when clearly the campaign was aware they were not going to have the finish they had hoped for, we've seen them pushing a new narrative that is, we're in this for the delegate game. We're not in this for the momentum of these early states. So the situation we have now is Elizabeth Warren has a lot of support coming her way now. A lot of people have tried to keep her alive. She's had her strongest fundraising month. But she needs to show she can win, because voters haven't yet seen her in this presidential election really even finish first or second in a state.
Yeah, well, we see her campaign rolling out new plans, two of them today on coronavirus and farm workers. Can you tell us a little bit about the details of these plans?
The coronavirus plan includes a $400 billion economic stimulus package to help Americans cope with the financial impact of coronavirus. A month ago, she released a plan on containing coronavirus. Both of them have taken sharp aim at President Trump and talked about how he is ill-equipped to handle this and has completely tried to underplay what is a serious problem. This new plan echoed a speech she gave on South Carolina primary night in Houston, in which she made the argument that she is, in fact, the best person to deal with a budding crisis like this. She took direct aim, probably the sharpest criticism she's made yet of Bernie Sanders, and said essentially that he has accomplished almost nothing in his 30 years in the Senate. And that is why she needs to be in office to put economic safeguards in place and to keep this from spreading, to invest in medicine and invest in the containment of this virus.
Nicole, you're there in Texas, the state with the second most delegates at stake on this Super Tuesday. How have voters there been weighing in, and what have they been telling you about the upcoming presidential race?
Well, absolutely. You mentioned it's the second largest delegate share. There are 228 delegates at stake this Tuesday, and early voting has already begun in Texas. And certainly, voters tell me some still undecided and considering, a number of the candidates here. I spoke with one voter earlier today who was trying to decide between Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders. So still a lot of undecided voters out here.
Nicole, Sganga, and Hudak, thank you.